Welcome to Creepy Loop. Brace yourself for a journey into the realms of darkness. Today's tale will send shivers down your spine. If you crave spine-chilling stories, hit the like button, subscribe, and join us in unlocking the mysteries of the Creepy Loop universe. I used to be really scared to share my dreams with anyone. I thought people might make fun of me or not understand. As I got older, though, I started caring less about what others think. I have a couple of really good friends who I can tell anything to. It's not easy to find people who are open-minded and won't judge you. It takes time to trust someone and not be afraid of what they might think. My two best friends make me feel comfortable. They don't think I'm strange or crazy. Anyway, sorry if I talk a lot. I tend to include lots of small details because it helps paint a clearer picture, you know? Now, have you ever heard of lucid dreaming? It's like being in a dream but knowing that you're dreaming. You're aware of it and can control it. It's not like those dreams where you're chasing goals or having nightmares. I've had a few of these lucid dreams, and I always try to figure out why they happen. But I end up feeling confused or worried. Let me give you a bit of background. Many people these days deal with things like depression and anxiety. They might have odd habits or a dark sense of humor. When you're young and feel these things, you don't really understand why. My uncle passed away when I was little, and it really affected my dad. He started drinking to cope with the pain. I don't blame him, but it did hurt the people who loved him. Sometimes, coming home can make you feel really anxious. Like, you worry about what your dad is going to say or blame you for. It feels like he's not really there, and you can't control anything. That's how I felt when I was growing up. Being told that you're worthless and a burden can mess with your feelings a lot. It's like looking at the world through an invisible screen, trying to talk to yourself but not being seen from the other side. I used to be scared of monsters in my closet when I was little, like the usual monster in the closet fear. I'd sleep with my door open and the hallway light on for safety. One night, as I lay in bed with a weird feeling in my stomach and a heavy feeling in my chest, I found comfort in the light and the hum of my fan. I closed my eyes, expecting the usual routine. But then something strange happened. I woke up, or at least I thought I did. The fan was still humming, and I looked to the right to see the comforting light. I felt relieved. But then I heard a tap on my window. Looking forward, I saw a hand, and I couldn't tell if it was a black glove or just really dark. That's when I realized I was dreaming, but it felt so real. I quickly pulled my Scooby-Doo comforter over my head, hugged my teddy bear tight, and closed my eyes. I could feel myself in my own dream, and it was kind of scary. I tried to block out the sounds around me and focused on my teddy bear's fur, keeping my eyes shut tight. All curled up into a ball, I tried to wake myself up. I pinched my arm, closed my eyes really hard, and even changed how I breathed. Finally, it worked, and I woke up for real. My hands were shaky, and my palms were sweaty. I got up and turned on the light in my room. Even though it didn't seem like much happened, it felt really weird, especially for a young kid like me. I wondered if I should look out the window. After taking a few deep breaths, I walked over and saw nothing but my backyard. It was kind of silly to think I'd see anything since my room was on the second floor and not reachable without a ladder. I sighed, went back to bed, and thankfully didn't have any more dreams that night. Years passed, and I was in high school now. I didn't think much about that dream from a long time ago. My weekdays were the same: swim practice, school, more practice, food, homework, and bed. My family wasn't perfect, but at least we had food and a warm home. I went to bed feeling uneasy, like the night years ago, but I thought I was just getting in my own head. So, I focused on breathing until I fell asleep. Tucked under my comforter, I closed my eyes, tired from swim practice and life's challenges. I woke up, hearing the fan humming, just like before. I looked to the right, like in the first dream. The hallway light was on, but then I heard a switch flip. I rushed to the hallway, looked outside, and saw nothing but an empty hall and closed doors, with no sound. I took a deep breath and flipped the switch, relieved when the light turned on. As I walked back to my bed, my door slammed shut. I tried to open it, but it was locked. My room had a lock on the inside, but it wouldn't open. I shook the door, screamed, and banged on it repeatedly. That's when I heard it. I heard a tapping sound on my window, and when I looked, there was a shadowed hand tapping against it. The hand turned flat and slapped the glass, creating steam. This time, there was a shadowed face and shoulders, wearing a black hat and a nice black suit. But his face was all black, and I could barely see the whites of his eyes. He grinned, like the Cheshire Cat, but scary. His eyes moved to the locks, and both flipped open. I started screaming and crying, trying to wake up by slapping myself, but no sound came out. All I heard was a ringing in my ears and the fan's hum fading away. I didn't know what to do, so I looked at the window. He opened it with that scary smile still on his face, and he started climbing in with a big kitchen knife. Since I couldn't escape through my door, I ran to my closet, even though it's the thing I fear the most. I opened the door and slammed it shut, holding it with one leg and the other against my chest as I sat against the wall. The door shook as he tried to break in. I kept telling myself it's just a dream, even though it felt real. Wake up, wake up. I screamed in my dream, and when I let go of the door, he opened it with one big push. I looked at the dark figure and passed out from fear, but I woke up for real. It was a bit tough, but I managed to turn off the light. Almost falling asleep, I heard a click, and the light turned back on, even though nobody was around. I noticed my closet door was slightly open. I got up slowly, closed the door, turned off the light again, and lay down to sleep once more. I was kinda worried, but I was so tired that I couldn't focus on anything except closing my eyes. Maybe I was just tired, and my brain was playing tricks on me, or at least, that's what I hoped. As I fell asleep, my dream felt faster than usual. I woke up in the dream, knowing I was still dreaming. Things happened in a similar way to my other dreams, and I fell deep in this sleep. I tried to wake up before anything scary could happen. I fought against the sleep, woke up for a moment, but my body wouldn't move. I was stuck, looking at the circles on my ceiling through my eyelashes, unable to open my eyes completely. I started feeling something there with me. I couldn't keep my eyes open and fell back into the dream. This one felt different, maybe because I was so tired or something else was going on. The sequence started again, and my heart was racing. I tried the lights, the door, everything, in the same order. The ringing came back in my ears, and this time, I looked over, and the man's whole body was visible, like he was floating in front of the window. I'm on the second floor, remember? This time, he didn't struggle. I tried to scream, but again, no sound came out. As I screamed silently, he punched through the glass, breaking the entire window with one try. He stepped through, and I turned away, stumbling and running for the closet. As I opened the door, I suddenly stopped because he was there, sitting just like I was, in the same spot, looking up at me. His whole body was like a dark shadow, and it seemed lanky and black, like a silhouette. I couldn't see who or what he really was. I stared at him for a second, unsure if I froze because I was scared or curious. His white eyes slowly opened to meet mine, and he grinned wider, like he thought he was clever. I looked down at his hand hanging casually over his knees, and it was covered in blood and glass. The shards stuck out, but he didn't seem to feel any pain. He took his fist and slammed it into the wall, leaving bloody marks and glass shards behind. The whole room shook so hard that it knocked me backward onto the floor. I felt like I couldn't catch my breath, like that moment when you fall off a swing or a trampoline and lose your breath. It was intense, and it felt too real. I thought to myself, this is too real. I looked back where he was sitting with blurry vision, and he started to rise, very tall. He began walking towards me. As he did, I started to remember, I am dreaming. This isn't real, maybe I have some sort of control. Now, he's stepping over me towards my bed. I grab his leg, and it feels like a cold silky cloth, tough to hold, but I pull as hard as I can. He's surprised that I even try this and stumbles. Using the force to pull him down, I also get myself on my feet. Confused, I look at my bed and see my body lying there. I look down at my hands, shaking, turning dark like the man, who's now peering and confused before me. Oh no, this is what he wanted all along. But what does he want with me? Why me? He reaches for my leg and pulls me back, slamming me to the floor again. My head slams, and I feel blood from my nose. I'm fighting, tugging on the floorboards to reach, well, myself. His cold, damp palms pull on my legs, trying to get past me. I glance back in fear to see him reaching with his bloody, glass-filled hand to pull out his knife. Unsteady, he tries to slam it into my temple. I swing my arm against him, causing him to miss because of his injury, and the knife flings under my bed. I remind myself, it's your dream. This is your dream. I realize it's a dream, not reality, so crazy things can happen as I told myself before. If it was real, he'd easily pin me down, but he struggles because it's not real. I kick back, feeling his teeth in my foot, blood and spit trickling down his face against my leg. I run and slip a bit, jumping to save myself. What now? Wake up? What now? I lay down into myself. I know it sounds strange, with the man hovering above me. He reaches for my throat with his one good hand, and I fight to wake up. I almost wake up once, staring at my swirled ceiling, eyes almost open, feeling his hand around my neck as I cling to reality. I fall back in, for a moment, throwing him off me and screaming at the top of my lungs. No sounds come out, but he looks concerned or maybe scared. I need to wake up. I have Tio wake up. I'm screaming, and he scuttles backward. I don't remember what I screamed, but this time he's terrified. He jumps out the window and disappears. Right before he leaps through the window, he flashes me one last grin. I woke up screaming, sitting up in my bed. I quickly looked around my room, checking everything, and then down at my shaky and sweaty hands. My body was shaking too, not cold, more like a strong vibration. I wondered, is it over? Is it really over now? Terrified to sleep, covered in sweat and tears, I went downstairs for water and to use the bathroom. My legs hurt, and I noticed a bruise, the same spot where he grabbed me. My neck had red marks, and my nose felt itchy. It might be a coincidence, but it made me think, even as a teenager, can our dreams really be connected to our reality? Is there some deeper connection, or am I unknowingly hurting myself in my sleep? I was terrified. The dreams stopped for a while, years actually. Then, recently, they came back when I was about 20. I had just broken up with a boyfriend and returned to my home because my family situation was tough. I got a smaller room since my brother took my bigger one. I wasn't complaining because my old room scared me. I slept in my room for the first time in a long while, and it seemed untouched, except for some scattered clothes. I rested without hesitation, tired from crying and heartache. I hadn't eaten or slept much those days, just working and crying. Tonight felt different. I was lying in bed, crying, listening to music on my phone. Finally deciding to sleep, I turned off the lights and laid down to clear my mind. I had dirty clothes on the floor. I'm messy with laundry but keep everything else tidy. Just as I was about to fall into deep sleep, I heard a long, slow creak. All the lights were off, making it a bit eerie. I had pushed all the scary things from my dreams and my old house deep into my mind, almost forgetting them. Sleepy and a bit scared, I stood up and turned on my light, which was closer to my bed now. My jaw dropped when I saw my closet door wide open, all the way to the max. Even my clothes were scattered in front of it. It didn't make sense. It reminded me of the lamp turning on by itself in my old room, but nothing else weird like that had happened in my real life. I usually make sure my closet door is closed before bed, almost like a routine. I tried to ignore it and hoped I was wrong. I laid down feeling uneasy but was too tired to worry too much. I heard my family cat meowing, so I let him into sleep with me, which felt comforting. I listened to the silence in my room and dozed off to the humming of my fan and my cat's purrs, hugging him until I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning, and everything seemed normal in my house. It was a Saturday, and I had the day off, so I decided to go out with friends to distract myself. We had lunch, went to a movie, and had some drinks. I was still tired from the night before, and going out was a lot for me. My friend dropped me at my house, and I played some games until I couldn't stay awake any longer. I laid down to sleep. This time I woke up, but things felt different. That's when I realized I wasn't actually awake. Not again, I thought. Being a bit older, I decided to be brave and told myself, I know what this is. I tried to wake myself up, but it didn't work. My lashes fluttered, and my eyes barely opened, with my body stuck and clinging to my bed. Nothing bad was happening until I saw the moonlight shining into my eyes through the window. My new room had blinds on the windows, and they shook violently, as if the window was open behind them. My bed was partly against the window, and the room was small, leading to part of the roof where you could step out and sit on it. I slowly walked to the window, pull open a blind, and peek through. It's all dark outside. Suddenly, an eye opens, staring right into mine, less than an inch away, with only the blinds between us. I stumble back and fall onto my bed. Everything becomes calm for a second, but it's too quiet. No fan humming, no cat meowing. Feeling confused but strangely calm, the figure slams a knife vertically through the blinds, cutting them with precision. The pieces fall to the floor, and I see him forming, the man in the same hat and suit. I gasp for air, unable to breathe or move. I wonder why this dream is happening again after so long. Instead of being scared, I decide to ask him questions. Who are you? His grin fades, and he looks sad and crazy. I'm still on my butt with my knees up as a shield, and my arms are behind me holding me up, not the best fighting stance. He inches towards me, getting close to my face. I almost crab walk backward until he uses one hand to slam me down. He leans over me on his knees and quickly pulls out the same knife, ready to thrust it downward. I grab his wrist, and the struggle continues. Scared but frustrated, I just want to sleep. I start screaming at him, why? Why me? Why? YWH, until it turns into gibberish crying. Just as he looks about to say something, I wake up. What the heck? Why is this happening? It's been years. Please, make it stop, I thought. And it does stop, which confuses me even more. It makes me curious about why it happened until eventually, the thought fades, and I move on. For years went by, and I was facing some really tough times. I have clinical depression and anxiety, and life had become very challenging. The dreams that had bothered me before, the ones I tried not to think about, came back. I'm 24 now, and I want to share my thoughts and experiences to help others who might be going through similar things. One night, during a tough time, I was in tears, feeling hopeless and empty. Eventually, I fell into a deep sleep. I used to have friends stay over or sleep at my best friend's place for comfort, but it had been a while since then, maybe a year or so. This made it strange that these dreams were happening again. Maybe the negative feelings had something to do with it. I had been sleeping peacefully on my own, so everything seemed fine until that night. I had the same feeling, being abruptly pulled into a lucid dream with complete silence. That's usually how I could tell. It would start calm with the humming of my fan, and then the sound would slowly fade away. This dream began the same way, waking up in bed with things feeling off. I looked around to see an empty, dark, quiet room with my phone on the counter. I remember it lighting up, but I can't recall the time, which always bothered me. Anyways, that was all the dream consisted of. I woke up once after that and slept like usual. Nothing weird happened, but it just felt off. The second night rolled in, and I did the same routine, checking the time on my phone before going to bed. This time, I heard a little noise and saw my hoodie on the bedroom door move. I got scared but then felt relieved when I saw a see-through figure of my dog Sam, who passed away. He was tugging and pushing on my hoodie, probably searching for treats or snackers, as we called them. It was the first positive thing I had seen in a lucid dream, and it made me feel happy. I heard a light scratching at the door, and I saw Sam tilt his head. He seemed excited, not scared, so I thought it was okay. I opened my door, and my other dog, Winston, came running in all happy and smiling. They started playing and being cute, but suddenly, they froze. They both looked at my slightly open closet. Winston ran out, and Sam gave me a sad look, then disappeared. My room was empty, and nothing else happened. I lay down in my dream and woke up in real life. It was morning, and it's funny how short dreams can feel sometimes. The third night, I fell asleep expecting something positive again after the last dream. I woke up in my dream, checked my phone for the time, but it wouldn't turn on. I felt for my charger, and it was plugged in but still not working. I sighed and placed the phone back on the counter. My room was dark, but I could still see a bit when my eyes adjusted. I looked around, hoping to see my dogs, but there was only silence and darkness. I heard a little scratch on my door, so I went to open it. "Winston," I cheered in my puppy dog voice. He wagged his tail for a moment but then stopped, letting out a little boof as he stared at something behind me. I turned to look, but there was nothing there. "What's wrong, buddy?" He jumped a bit, then quickly ran down the dark staircase. I called his name, but it was silent. I turned around to find an empty room and was about to lay back down to sleep. I noticed my closet was open again, and I had had enough. I tried to turn on the light in my closet and my room, but nothing happened. It was all dark. I closed my closet door and lay down, telling myself I would wake up soon. I closed my eyes, and then I woke up. My phone vibrated, and I saw a message that started with Sarah. But I couldn't make out the rest because I wore contacts and am nearsighted. I reached for my phone, but something from behind slammed my head down. It felt like a large, cold, damp hand of a man. He held me down with one hand on the nape of my neck and the other pressing my body down with his other cold hand centered in my back. I felt him bring his head next to mine, and I wondered if I should look to my right to see him. It almost felt like a different presence, but at the same time, I felt like it was him again. I heard his heavy, long breaths against the side of my face and neck, almost a heavy satisfied sound in his breath. That's all I could hear, the steady, heavy breathing. My own breath faltered. I couldn't breathe. I was shocked and frozen by how fast it all happened, and I didn't realize. The pressure increased against my back and throat, making each breath harder. I started to feel dizzy, but then I thought, wait, I must not be awake. I must be calm. I have to be calm. I slowly woke up as I slowed my heart rate and calmed myself in my dream. I kept thinking I'm in control, it'll be okay, until it was. As I woke up, I felt him hesitantly release my neck and back. As he slowly backed away, I felt him whisper something in my ear. I couldn't hear what he said, but I could tell he was speaking and not just breathing. I still don't know what he said, and that bothers me to this day. I woke up, barely catching my breath. I haven't slept much since then, and I am terrified of what will happen next. I still feel his presence sometimes, especially in my dreams. Even when it's nothing important, I can still feel him there, watching, waiting. I sometimes think I see him out of the corner of my eye. "Who or what are you?" Why me? But nonetheless, I hope I never find out. For now, this is all I can write. My brother needs my help because he said he found something weird under my old bed. What recurring theme or presence haunts the narrator's dreams throughout the story? How does the atmosphere change in the dream when the figure with the dark hat and suit appears?